Yeah, man. Right about there. How are you doing?
What's going on, guys?
Wednesday again. Yeah, we're hanging out on Wednesday talking Van Halen. Charles Green and Dane from Zim's Guitars is back in the house.
Howdy,
What's up,
guys.
dude?
Thank you guys for having me.
Always a
Thank you
Hey,
so
pleasure,
Dane.
much.
Dane. Good to see you, man. Yeah. So, how's the weather down there in steamy Arizona, man?
It's a hot one. It is a hot one. Watching the weather today, it seems like it's hot everywhere, all throughout California. Yeah, it's tough out there.
Yeah.
Power's running out. We have a good power grid here in Phoenix, though, because we got the Palo Verde nuclear power plant. And even a huge percentage of that even sends all the way over to California to help them, power their grid over there.
I was going to ask
But
you.
yeah, we have a nuclear power plant about 40 miles out of town. And if it ever blows up, hopefully the wind will be blowing westerly.
There you go. Straight to California. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. If the wind is blowing east, then I'm not sure what to say, except we're going to be pretty fucked up.
I was
But
going
you
to
know what?
say.
I think nuclear power is safe, so it's been there a long
Does
time.
it help to cut the lights off in your house when it's really hot?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to turn the oven on and make French fries or cook, pizza pots or whatever. You definitely don't want to get your dryer going. You wait until nighttime to start the dishwasher. 9 o'clock at night, you start the dishwasher. You maybe start the dryer. You try to do that stuff after the sun goes down. And you want to try to keep your window shades covered. And you've got security screens on the outside of your windows. You got big, heavy, dark drapes on the inside. So, yeah, that's all good to do that kind of stuff.
You're used to it too.
Yeah, and we're
So,
all used to it.
yeah. Mr. Charles Green, what's happening, brother?
It's good to see you guys. Hope everyone's doing well. It's hot here, but it's not nearly as hot. A month ago, we were getting close to you guys, but it's just too darn hot there where you are. I think I remember being in California in Palm Springs, and I think it was like 118 degrees,
Mm.
Yeah.
but it's a dry heat. You barely notice it, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. You
Um,
barely notice it.
no, it's still warm here though. It's in the mid 80s, close to 90,
Yeah.
which is still a kind of a bit hot here, but
Let's
hey,
Palm Springs, thanks to Sonny Bono when he was mayor of Palm Springs,
I
they got
remember
those
that.
giant wind turbines all up along the side of the mountain for
Oh, he
about
did
5
that.
miles. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
nice.
it's kind of
Nice.
ugly. It's kind of ugly,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it helps.
Let's we're going to talk about a lot of things tonight. Current Wolfgang stuff that's going on. And but let's who's here tonight, Charles? Let's see who's hanging out
You
with
want me to
us.
read roll call, Tony, or you
It
want to do it?
doesn't matter. I'll do half and you do half. We'll start with Keith Campbell right there, and
Good to
I'll
see you,
go to
Keith.
Christopher Live Sour,
Christopher, right
and
on, bro.
I'll have the luxury of saying hi to Sandra. There she
Good
is.
to see you, and she's back. It's good to see you, Sandra.
Yeah. And Nightbot is in the house, and Janice Lala
Hey,
is here.
Janice. Hey,
Ryan
sweetheart.
Hall is
La
here.
la 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 la
Ryan,
la.
what's going on, Ryan?
Andy Carson
I
right
need to
there.
take over
Andy,
where
dude.
Mancuda left off and go. Oh, Pokorney. Right?
Polly Walnut's in the house. Brother,
Ollie, right on,
what's
bro.
up? 40 Grid,
Hey,
what's
what's going on, dude?
happening?
Welcome to
Forty
Halenville.
Welcome,
grit.
dude. My bro R2, R3 in the house. What's
Good
up,
to see you,
dude?
brother.
Yeah, man.
40
Right
grit. I
on.
will
Um,
say he's pretty abrasive.
Thomas Santiago.
Thomas, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, bro.
You know him, Dane?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Just from the chat.
Oh yeah. Papa Blue is here. Hey, dude.
It's good to see you, Papa.
Always good
Come
to
on,
see you.
man.
Taylor
No,
Green here.
that's a
Hey,
new name
Taylor.
I haven't heard.
I'm scrolling upward. If I missed anybody, say hi in the chat and we'll scroll back down for you. How's that?
Did we catch Andy Carson?
Yes.
Good to see you, Andy.
Yeah. Nice to see you guys. Where is it at? Keeps moving. There it is. Adam Roach. Good to see you, bro.
It's good to see you, Adam. Right on, brother.
Yeah. Adam will be here in a couple of weeks, Charles.
21st, I believe.
Yes, sir.
I got it penciled in.
Looking forward. Okay.
Dan in
Man.
New Jersey. It's good to see you, Dan. Right on, brother.
Have I got that card for? Yeah, I do. Since we're talking about it. How you like that?
Nice. Very nice.
That's the 21st in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Nice to see you, Adam. All right. Okay. Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Hope your week's going good. Happy Wednesday. Always a pleasure to see you guys and talk Van Halen here. Love it, man. Yeah. LRM Guitars, welcome.
Welcome to Halenville, LRM.
Good to
Very
see
cool, bro.
you. Yeah.
Cool.
And that'll be in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it. So you guys, we all saw, or at least the replay of the Taylor Hawkins Tribute Concert Saturday, and Wolfgang joining Dave Grohl on bass and Josh Freese on drums, to two songs, On Fire and Hot for Teacher, with him playing guitar. And he played it really, 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 really well. Both songs. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I think the world was shocked in general at how accomplished a guitar player he is. You know, that's the first time that he's ever hit a stage that publicly and pulled off his dad's and, you know, his uncle's music, so to speak. I've watched it every day. Ever since it came out, I keep just playing it back. It's just on my normal feed. He did it with an ES335 style guitar, but it's an
Hardtail,
right?
Yeah.
Hardtail, no whammy bar.
Mm-hmm.
How cool was that, Dane? I mean, my God, man. And you know, the really interesting thing to me is the crowd initially, they were sitting there like just still. And I remember at least a couple of the, you know, I saw some fan shot stuff that's on YouTube, and the crowd was sitting there and they were in shock.
Taking it in.
Realize what they were seeing. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Wolf was playing his new guitar, and he changed to another one.
Yeah, because I think Hot for Teacher is in standard tuning.
Oh, is it standard or was one in drop? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so maybe On Fire's E flat and Hot for Teacher's standard.
Yeah, it was the tuning.
I don't know what Dave did on the bass. Dave might have retuned real quick. But even Dave Grohl on bass, right?
Yeah, man, that was fun, man. But for him to come out there, number one, to even go near Van Halen songs, but to play guitar on them and the, the song choice, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
wonder how that happened. Whose idea? Because on fire,
On
I
Fire
mean,
was
my
on
mind
fire.
was.
On Fire was on fire. It definitely left no doubt to all us guys are like, oh yeah, Van Halen get back together and we'll just let Wolfie play guitar. He can probably do it, right? But nobody really knew. But that sort of proved to the world that, oh hell yeah, he can do that. But you know what? I was thinking, you know who probably knew that he could play guitar like that? Was probably Uncle Al. Alex was out in the same band with him, and Alex probably knew Wolfgang could play like that. I'm sure there was backstage, hanging out. I'm sure
Yeah,
Alex was probably the only one that knew he
we
could play like
knew
that. And I bet Roth even probably knew he could play that stuff because they were in the same band for 8 years there, or
we
however
knew
long it
though
was.
there Wolf had put stuff out on his social media of him playing Eruption.
He did it
When
on
he
a
was
It,
bass.
15. Yeah,
Yeah,
when
he
he
yeah,
was
did it on a
15
bass
years
too. They
old.
showed
Yeah.
that's on
yeah.
YouTube right now.
I mean, he if he wanted to, he could, and for that show, wow,
I
I'm
think
glad he
that
did.
Wolfgang could always play that stuff, but he wanted to prove himself first as a songwriter, and he wanted his own record out, and he won, or he was nominated for a Grammy on his own record. And you know what? I'm sure that Roth said, hey, Wolfie, whenever you're ready to play guitar, we'll continue on. And Michael Anthony, Sammy Hagar, Roth, everybody couldn't talk Wolfgang into doing something public on guitar. As far as he would tease, I would never play Panama or anything. Don't ask Mammoth to play Panama. He was almost mean about it.
Mm.
But then, you know who was able to talk him into doing that? Dave Grohl. Dave is probably the biggest freaking rock star in the world right now. He can call up Paul McCartney and say, Paul, come and join, Wolfie, come and join. And both of those guys are like, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do, Dave? And Dave calls it off. Okay, Wolfie, let's do Hot for Teacher and, whatever. And Dave Grohl is the mastermind behind the whole thing.
Yeah.
And again, Dave could talk to Wolfie, and Wolfie has so much respect for Dave Grohl. They're closer in age. They're in the same genre of music that they love. Dave could say, hey, let's do some old Van Halen just for fun. And Wolfie's like, okay, Dave Grohl, let's do it. Sounds like a great idea. I know Roth couldn't talk him into that. Sammy Hagar can't talk him into that. Oh, well, I'll get Michael Anthony on bass. No, let's not do that. Nobody could talk Wolfie into doing anything. Everybody in the world that loves old Van Halen, none of us could talk Wolfie into playing anything like that, except for Dave Grohl. Come on, man. It'll be some fun.
Yeah,
Let's go mess up some cool Van Halen tunes. Let's go have a good time. And Wolfie was all on board.
that sounds about right, Dane.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
It was interesting. I was thinking today around lunchtime, I'm driving, and the very thought of the reunion and why Taylor Hawkins, his reunion was not only timely, but it was awesome. And how there hasn't been one for Eddie yet is really kind of interesting now. It's
Reunion.
weird, it's time.
And there's going to be a second LA version. They're coming to Los Angeles at the end of the month to do the same thing. But Wolfie won't be there. Brian May won't be there. AC/DC guy won't be there. Brian Johnston. There'll be a whole new list of celebrities coming on stage with Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters to
Wolf's gonna
celebrate.
be there. Wolf's gonna be there, dude.
You think so?
Yeah.
I believe so.
There it is, right
Because
there.
it's billed as both LA and London with the same names. Wolf's under both. I think he's printed twice, once in Los Angeles and once in
Wow.
London.
Wow. How's he going to follow that up?
Dane, how big is the anticipation in LA
How
now?
is he going to follow that up? What's he going to play? Eruption into, somebody get me a doctor. And how's he going to follow that
I don't
up?
know if he'll change the song. He may
I
do the
hope he
same
changes
too.
the song.
The only
Give us some more.
changes that I'm seeing in the LA show, it looks like pretty much the same names. The new names I see are Phil Collin of Def Leppard, Gene Simmons. Yeah.
Okay.
There was someone else.
Dane, I hope he plays different songs too.
I need more, man. I need more out of it. My
Yeah, maybe he will,
and
man.
my eyes cheered up, and the hope of Van Halen being back together with Wolfie on guitar is just like, oh my God, please God, let this happen, please, for me.
A religious experience, huh?
Yeah, please let this happen.
Excellent.
I want Michael Anthony in the band. I want Alex on drums. I want Roth to be the singer. Sammy can come and hang out and participate too.
So
if he
so
wants
this
to, but I
show
want
is
the old school Van Halen back together.
Yes.
I don't
This
want to see
show-
Wolfgang playing Pound Cake, or I don't want to see Wolfgang playing any Hagar stuff. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah. I'm a
I don't
Roth
want
camp
to see
guy too.
Sammy.
Dane.
I don't want to see him playing, any
You'll
of those Hagar
probably
songs.
see in this show. I hope Wolf. He'll probably play a couple of songs.
Hope he
Again.
plays something different. It'd be cool
Yeah.
if he came out with Light Up the Sky.
It'd be fun to see. It'd be fun to see Sammy show up, and yeah, it would still be fun. I love Sammy Hagar. I don't want to talk, anything negative about Sammy Hagar, but that would be fun. If the Circle comes to town, I'll get a ticket and go see Sammy Hagar's band. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the same as the early Roth stuff for me. And I know that Roth sounds like shit nowadays vocally, but again, that doesn't matter that much to me. Roth didn't sing good when I went to the 1980 Invasion, or when I was at the USFest in 1983. Roth sounded like shit, but it doesn't matter that much to me. I want to see the original band.
I hear you, Dane.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Holly Lewis, it's good to see you, sweetheart.
Hey, Holly. Well, it's fair to say that in lieu of this tribute, both of these shows that they're doing in honor of Taylor Hawkins, that there will be at some point one or a couple or more for Eddie. Of course, there will be, but
it is time.
Yeah,
it is
everyone has their own time frame. So
we're just guys talking about Van Halen, but there's people in management and big corporations that put on summer tours and stuff, and their wheels are spinning in their head right now. How can we get this Van Halen stuff together?
Dude,
they were able to get Guns N' Roses back together. They were able to,
They give them guys offers.
Those
probably
guys, and that
monthly.
opened the floodgates to offers for Van Halen to get back together. Wolfie's at home looking at his emails, and he's got 500 of them scrolling through his emails every day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm sure
it's got to be overwhelming.
Yeah.
And the amount of money they could take. I went and saw Wolfgang 6 months ago when they came through Tempe, Arizona here. And I'm going to guess there was 2,000 people there, 2,300 people, something like that. He played at the Marquee Theater. And I'm sure that there's business people that put huge concerts together, concert tours, and is guaranteeing Wolfie that he's not going to be playing to 2,300 people. It's going to be more like 23,000 people. And you're not going to make, $10, $12, $15,000 a night for your band. You're going to make $150,000 a night. It's the offers. He opened up the floodgates now. He is just he's opened up the corral, and 100 bulls are rushing out. 100 Van Halen bulls with giant horns are rushing through the gates, trying to get Van Halen together.
It's got to
happen.
happen.
The other bands are just going to get stampeded.
Man, it needs to happen.
He agrees to do that.
Way, way overdue at this point. I saw that.
Yeah, Rick Beato. I watched that one too.
Yeah. Now that video, I'm gonna get rid of that. That video. Let me see if I can pull up a screenshot. Yeah. So.
Hey, Ronnie Parfait. Welcome to Halenville, brother. It's good to see you, man.
Hey, Ronnie. There was buzz on social media about that video, and let me show you what Wolf.
Yeah, simmer down. I know, man.
I just read that, Dane.
I can't help it. I am freaking excited about this.
That's not it. This is where I'm going. Hang on. All right. Try it again. Take two. I'm going over there. That's where I'm going. All right. You can see that good?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Wow. All right. So there'll be new music on the WVH horizon. That is awesome.
A screenshot.
That is absolutely awesome. Robert Ranford, it's good to see you, brother.
Yeah. So, yeah, so there is new music coming our way at some point.
That's my dogs, by the way, barking.
Who let the dogs out? All right. So, Gretsch Zeppelin, hey, dude.
Gretsch, hold on, brother. Good to see you, man.
We'll tackle some Van Halen trivia later on, too, Charles Green. I forgot to tell you the question, man. Sorry.
It's all good. I like being surprised with it, too.
Yeah. I think I got a couple questions in there. And I try to make them really hard. Really hard.
Hey, last week's was wonderful, dude. It's wonderful, man. Even Keith Campbell commented and said, good question. So that's it, bro.
Well,
that's it.
These Van Halen fans, they know they're Van Halen, man. It's tough to write questions. It's just flat tough.
If you're trying to outstump, some of the real nerdy ones, the ones
they're gonna know. They're gonna know.
It's amazing what it's like Keith. What he knows about Van Halen is ridiculous. It's awesomely ridiculous. Yeah.
He definitely.
Cool.
With that said, Keith definitely, I would say, he's got a PhD in Van Halen.
If I have a question about Van Halen and it's something like that, and I need to know, I go to Keith probably before I go to Google just to get the answer faster. You know what I'm saying? All good, man.
Holly, thank you for watching, Holly.
Yeah, Holly, you rock.
So Dane, we dig your stuff on your YouTube channel, dude.
Thank you so much.
I watch your live stuff when you do those, but your uploads, man, dude, it's every day, and they're well
It is.
made
I've decided to
videos
just
too.
go every
Very
day.
well made.
My son
Yeah,
is
man.
getting really good at editing, and about a year ago, he goes, "Dad, let me just." He worked at my son, who's 26 years old. He worked at the UPS store for 5 years. And then I moved into my new location here, and then he asked me, Dad, let me just come and work for you. I'll do all your video editing for you, and whatever else kind of stuff I can do. And then finally, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, I decided to just let the camera roll on every restring that I had to do. I'm just gonna, just let the camera roll. And then he does all the editing, he puts it all together, and I'm like, Brighton, just try to cut out the stuff that makes me sound stupid. Okay, Dad, no problem.
And he does just the opposite, I'm sure, as most kids would.
And then I'll put a joke where I put one of my bad taste jokes in a video or something. We look at the analytics and it's like, oh, great. We lost 3 subscribers on that one. Good job, Dad.
Hey, Quentin James in the chat. It's good to see you, Quentin. Right on, brother. Well, so what's new as far as guitars, Dane? You got anything that's hit the shop in the last couple of days you want to show off, maybe?
Sure. Let me grab something.
That is awesome. Lenny Lewis, good to see you and Mary. Love you, sweetheart.
Hey, Lenny Lou. Always good to see you.
This is one of those PRS SE Silver Skies. I don't know if I showed you guys this a couple weeks ago when I was on. But
I don't think so. I would remember that, Dane.
International Cortex Factory. So it's made by Cort, Indonesia. The PRS SE. Now the American made one has a 7 1/4 radius. On the SE, what versions they did a 12-inch radius. And then it has this style of a Graphtec nut. On the American ones, they did like a Stratocaster nut, where they cut a channel in the fingerboard and they insert the nut into that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of the differences.
It looks like the fit and finish is really nice. It looks pretty solid.
I forget what they called this color, but yeah, she's a really nice guitar. All the pickups on these, they all ohm out at the same. If you put your ohm meter on here, it's like 6.66, 6.67, 6.66. They're all around the same. So
you've played the guitar, correct?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. When you switch from pickup, when you go from back from the neck to the bridge, do you hear any kind of drop off, or does it stay? It should stay pretty solid. That's a well-made guitar.
It's super level all the way across.
Excellent.
Right on.
And I was never a John Mayer fan, but this guitar came out in the Silver Sky, and it kind of got my attention. And then I guess it was about a year ago he put a record out, and it was very 80s sounding. It was almost like a Genesis record or something, and I kind of enjoy it. It's not too bad. He's got a couple ballads that are pretty little slow things, and it's not too bad. So I'm not a huge John Mayer fan, but I gotta say that I'm a fan of him now.
Right on.
And then this guitar, which I think is sort of a mistake, but they've got a backplate on it. Now on the original made in Maryland PRS Silver Sky, there's no backplate whatsoever. And you can see the block, you can see the claw and the springs, and it's the paint job in here is just as nice down in here underneath the claw and everything on a real Silver Sky. So John Mayer did not want a backplate. But on these SEs, I think because it's tough to paint it down inside here and get it to look perfect, just like out here, it's tough to get in there and wet sand it and buff it and polish it. So they threw a pick guard on here, or they threw a backplate on, which I think is kind of a mistake. But and then a lot of guys didn't like the 7 1/4 radius, because that's like a really old school Fender 50 telly radius.
Very curved, man.
Super curved.
Yeah.
So they went with a 12-inch radius on this one.
I'm surprised they didn't stay with like a 10-inch and keep it a little bit closer, but there's not a tremendous amount of difference between a 10 and a 12-inch radius. I mean, when you're playing them, there's a difference, but not tremendous.
Right. The average guy, you wouldn't really even notice.
No.
I mean, if you play a 12-inch radius for 5 minutes and then somebody hands you a 10-inch and you plug it right in and go real quick, okay, I can feel that now.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, you're not going to really.
Yeah.
It's come to my attention, and I'm always not really good at remembering your birthday. So, but today in Van Halen history, this is the first day that they went in Sunset Sound to start making Van Halen 1.
Oh, wow.
September the 7th, 1977.
Yeah.
Today, yeah.
They used to do a lot of like Frank Sinatra stuff out of Sunset Studios. And again, it's right there on Sunset Boulevard. And as you drive by, you know, it's right there. And there's homeless people sleeping out front and stuff. But yeah, it's a really good studio. I know that. Who are some of the other artists? Now, I always, because there's Sound City music that's in like Van Nuys, California. And that's where all those bands, Dio and Fleetwood Mac and the first Nirvana album, all that stuff came out of Sound City. And Dave Grohl even bought the PA or the recording console, and he took it home to his house. Did you watch that movie?
No.
Did you guys watch that?
Nice. I heard something about it.
There's a movie about that studio there in Van Nuys, California. And Rick Springfield recorded there and did Jesse's Girl there. Holy Diver was recorded there. The Rumors Fleetwood Mac album was recorded there. So it was just a really good studio. They had every drum kit and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers recorded there. So every time they set up a drum kit, the kit just sounded really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And let me put this one back.
Right.
Nice. Very cool. Boomster Black, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, good to see you. And Sandra, good to see you back.
See, things are getting back to normal.
Yeah. Where are we at? All right. We're right there. So I haven't asked you a question off camera or off just in regular everyday life, Charles Green, but I'm going to ask you a question a little bit that I've been saving for the show.
Okay.
Because all right. So now maybe I should pull it. I'll pull the headline up at least.
There's a story there, I believe. Hey, Ed Dubrell, it's good to see you, brother.
Hey, Ed. All right. Bear with me a second. Okay. So Now, this is the Van Halen news desk, and that's for today. They're talking about the Panama version David Lee Roth had recently come out with.
Yeah, so that's another something that you can kind of bring up is why would Dave put out a song onto YouTube and everything? He re-recorded Panama. I mean, it's a cool version and everything, but why would he do that like 2 days before Wolfgang steals the show?
I know. He's
You know what
out
I'm
there.
trying to say?
All right.
Dave, let Wolfgang have his moment for a minute,
Yeah.
Why do you got to put a song out the day before Wolfie goes and does that?
I know.
Okay.
All right, Charles
I
Green.
agree with you, Dan. That's it.
So this is what I'm going to ask you. So Sammy Hagar, about a week ago, this story came out, said that Eddie came to him in a dream
Mm-hmm.
and played him a riff
Mm-hmm.
that he, I guess, woke up immediately and wrote down and wrote the whole song around it and felt very inspired, and to the extent that he's even given Eddie writing credits.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be kidding me.
I thought about this today as I was driving, ironically. It just popped into my head again, and I started thinking about it. I honestly, I'm on the fence about it. He spent a lot of time with Eddie, and I cannot make light of anything that Sammy says about Van Halen or Edward Van Halen. If it's from him personally and he's reflecting on something personal. I don't know what to say. I haven't heard it. I can't wait to hear it. And I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't know that I believe it or not, to be honest. Look, he did a lot of time with Edward Van Halen, and they were quite literally history makers together.
Now, this is definitely one that I want to see what the chat says.
Yeah.
What's your take?
And my initial reaction was just like Dane's, exactly the same. That's exactly what I did. I went, "Oh, come on, give me."
I mean, your dream is going to have to be pretty. What's the word they use? Clairvoyant or maybe?
Yeah,
I mean, come on, it's a dream.
Yeah.
My dreams are like people chasing me around, and I'm in my car, and the brakes don't work, and things like that.
Yeah.
But to come up with a song riff is a little strange.
I'm anxious. Okay, so either way, true or not, what do we experience out of it? Well, we definitely all want to hear the riff. We want to hear the song. Just to end this, put it into the story.
And then we're going to hear it. We're going to be like, oh, okay, sure, Sammy. It sounds like you rewrote Can't Drive 55 again.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to rip on Sammy, but I have a feeling that it's a Sammy riff.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, Dane, is we'll be able to tell. We'll know if it's an Eddie riff or not. More or less, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. I'm giving Sammy the benefit of the doubt on this, just because I kind of hope.
Yeah,
it's
I
hope it's true.
Not passing judgment, but it is just. I mean, yeah. I got nothing.
Dan in New Jersey makes a point there, and Dan, I've got to tell you, I respect your absolutely respect your opinion, and I get it. I get it. But at the same time, devil's advocate. Sammy Hagar doesn't need this. He didn't have to come out with this. He's got massive street cred. So for him to actually say this, and this is why I'm on the fence, and I'm leaning. I want it to be true. I do. I want it to be true because Sammy doesn't have anything to prove. He doesn't have to. Is he losing his mind?
No,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
no,
He
he's
seems very
but
sharp and
dude,
articulate. So,
no one's calling him a liar.
oh
But
no, not at all.
here's how it is, though. Here's how it is. If you see Bigfoot or an alien lands in your backyard,
Oh, and Sandra.
no. If that happens, you can't tell anybody. You can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because no matter who and no matter what the circumstance is, you better know you can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
almost a really smart guy. He's going to know that by saying that out loud, people are going to be like, "What?
I know.
Come on."
Yeah.
So,
You know what? He may have quite literally had a very lucid dream, and this might all be real in his mind. Who knows? But I really want to hear the riff. I want to hear the song.
I want to dream like that, bro.
And another observation, and I don't mean this in a negative way. God, it sounds like I'm bashing Sammy, and I'm not.
I want Eddie to come play
Look,
me stuff
I've
that
heard
I've never
the Circle
heard.
cover dozens of Van Halen songs. And Wolf walked out on a stage and quite literally lit the songs back on fire.
He really did.
In about 4 minutes time, 5 minutes
Yeah,
time.
I haven't heard any. And there's all these guys,
Hey, Dane, he reset the standard.
There's all these guys that play Van Halen stuff, like the Atomic Punks or the Al, whatever his name is, that's in Roth's band. There's all these guys that try to play Van Halen all the time. There's thousands of dudes that try to play Van Halen, but nobody played it like Wolfie played that.
Close your eyes and listen, and
I know it.
It is.
You can tell in Hot for Teacher.
Yeah.
With the finger picking. Yep.
Yes.
You can tell.
Effortlessly. He's just standing there grinning, looking at Dave.
But so here's my wish for the 27th. Now, this show in LA is on a Tuesday. All right. So, and I'm not sure of the start time there, but Tuesday, September 27th, still a couple of weeks out. Here's my wish for that show. We're all talking about him doing a couple of different songs than he did Saturday. It's my wish. I hope he does 2 Sammy Hagar era songs. And I'll tell you why, to mix it up, obviously. But the whole time he was in Van Halen, he never got to play Hagar era songs live from 07 to
nobody's ever heard him play any Hagar stuff.
Right. So that would be a treat.
If he got Hagar and Michael Anthony to show up with him.
That would be even really, better. Really, really awesome.
That would be badass. Yeah, sure. I have to admit, that would be badass. Or even having Dave, but I would hate to see. You got
to think of what the blood is there. Is it good? Are the vibes good amongst every, I don't know that.
I would hate to see anything happen.
I mean, who knows, though? I mean,
I would hate to see anything happen in them to exclude Michael Anthony from it. That would be rough.
Well, hopefully, no one
do
would,
not exclude Michael from anything.
Absolutely not. He needs to be there.
Yeah, but as it stands for the the 27th show, none of those names, of their names, are on that card. Wolfgang Van Halen's name is. So we'll see.
You know, they might just have Wolfgang play some Foo Fighters stuff with them.
That wouldn't be bad.
It would be
When
great.
I saw him live, he did an Alice in Chains tune, so he's versed in all
He
kinds of
did.
stuff. You know.
Yes, he
He
did.
do
He
that
did.
last
He
year.
did.
You're
And
right, man.
Dave Grohl might want to switch it up and not do the same tunes. You know, he thinks
Yeah,
about stuff like that.
that show, maybe it'll be totally different. Yeah, and there's people that are not there, like I think Elton John's not there. Um, I don't know who else, but yeah, it's gonna be a good show. It'll be interesting to see what Wolf does in the show, and there are, in fact, any surprises that
That is one thing that you can think about is Wolfgang and Sammy Hagar have never worked together in any way. Wolfgang, you know, when he was 15 years old, and he says, "Dad, let's put the band together and call Roth up and let's get the band together." And because Wolfie asked his dad, "Let's do that," his dad was like, "Okay, let's call Roth up, get hold of him," you know.
Uncle
And
Dave.
and so that was Wolfie's decision to do that. It wasn't Wolfie's decision when he was 15 years old to say, "Dad, call Sammy up. Let's get Sammy over here." So it'd be kind of nice
yeah,
to see Wolfie and Sammy bond a little bit because we've never seen anything like
It
that.
would. At the time, I think it's because
Yeah.
Dave was doable and Sammy was not doable. So he went with the path of least resistance with Eddie.
well, Wolf, where
Roth is always available.
Wolf came out on stage
Awesome.
and played
He's awesome.
some guitar on a couple of dates on the 04 tour, and our Lenny Lou right there, she was lucky enough to be at a Van Halen show when that happened, and Wolf, yeah, and got the pictures too. Yeah, and Wolf was 12, I think, at the time.
Awesome.
Yeah, but yeah. So that next show, I hope he does some Hagar era stuff for once. It's been totally ignored the whole since '07. Um,
Mhm.
and us as fans, I want to hear it live, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I want to hear the Roth here, of course, but I want to hear all of it.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree with you. It would be fun.
Yeah. So
It would be fun.
yeah. Hey, Leo.
Leo, what's going on, bro?
See you, sir.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
Any of it would be fun. It's just a matter of will Wolfgang accept a show where he is the guitar player and will he play Van Halen songs? I'll support him playing Wolfgang Mammoth songs. I will support him in doing that if that's what he wants to do. But you know, there's a lot of us old guys that we want to see some old Van Halen because that's what we grew up. That's what we love, man.
And it's still possible. It's still possible.
Well,
it really, again, it opened up the floodgates to everybody going, "Oh my God, it's possible.
It's actually a thing.
I know.
It's impossible. He can do it, and he can do it well." Because we didn't really know he could play like that. He didn't really show us that with the Mammoth stuff.
No.
But I went and saw him, and they sang great, and Mammoth is good for that generation. That's what they kind of want to hear. They kind of come off like in my opinion, they're a kind of a 90s alternative band.
Mm.
but that's this kind of the same as the Foo Fighters to me,
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
in a way,
Yeah.
you know. So to me, it was weird. It didn't make much sense that the first big tour that Mammoth did was opening up for Guns N' Roses, because their music sounds like they want to be modern rock. So why would you take a modern rock band and go open for an old classic rock band?
There's a reason why, because Guns N' Roses has a very broad audience
That already
age-wise.
knows him, and that was and they were sitting there at that Guns N' Roses show saying, "Boy, wouldn't it be great if Wolfie and his band kicked into Panama right now?"
Oh,
You know, we were all
yeah,
saying it. Wouldn't that be fun? They ain't talking
yeah.
about love or something, man. Come on.
And you know what the response was, right?
And it's not like we're not going to lose respect for Wolfie. We know he's a great songwriter. We know he plays freaking great. Yeah, he doesn't want to play Panama. You know, we get it, but you know,
I have a feeling sometime in the future we're going to actually get to see him play Panama.
can we get a little of both maybe then? Could you try to satisfy the old guys that are at the Guns N' Roses show? And can you also try to satisfy the younger, his generation of people that love his music, you know?
So you calling me old, Dane?
That
Because
means
I
I'm
go
ancient.
to every
I'm
Guns N' Roses concert, baby.
ancient.
He's calling me
Yeah, now
old,
we want
Sean.
him to satisfy 2 or 3 generations of music lovers, right? Instead of his generation of music lovers.
He's already got me, and he's got my grandkids, so he's already spanning 50 some odd years.
Yeah.
It's
And
crazy.
he's so young.
He's
He's
so
so young.
young. So young.
He's got a dozen albums ahead of him, right?
Yeah, easily. I would say easily.
Uh-huh.
He's
Yeah.
gonna, you know, at the end of his career, looking back at it, he'll do as much work with other artists as he does for himself. You know, and the
Yeah.
way that music is evolving, and the way that the production of music is evolving, who knows what's going to be
Symmetry,
like in
what's up,
20
dude?
years, but he'll be there in 20 years. He'll be there in 30, 40 years, maybe.
Guys, I got something fun to
It's
show you guys
crazy.
for a minute. So last Thursday, there was a concert in town, and I actually had a rock star in my store.
Sweet.
I'm going to show you guys a photo who was in here. Do you guys see him?
Let me guess. Let me guess. Don't say.
I didn't get a good. Who is that?
Hang on. Hang on.
I'm going to give you a hint. His first name is Jack.
Is what?
His first name is Jack.
It's
How
not
old
what?
school? Give me one more. Give me another one. Give me another one.
He's an 80s pop artist.
Jack
Rock
Blades?
pop.
Jack Blades?
No, it's not Jack Blades. I'm going to give you one more hit. One more hint. Everybody Wing Chong tonight.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Jack Hughes from Wang Chung.
My goodness. No
He
way.
needed an overdrive pedal.
No
And
way.
his roadie said,
Right
don't go
on.
to Guitar Center, bro. I know a place called Zim's. They got a lot of pedals. So he came in here. He sat here. And he ended up buying the Lawrence Petros. I have 2 of these. But Jack from Wang Chung bought the Lawrence Petros 74 pedal.
No.
And he played through, he wanted an overdrive, and he played through the Dyna Drive by Boss. He played through this Heckle, Jekyll and Hyde thing from True Tone, and he goes, that's too complicated. And after 3 or 4 pedals, I said, hey man, there's this guy right here in Mesa, Arizona. Lawrence Petros. And he said, okay, let me give that a try. And he's a very polite English gentleman. And he played through this, and then he tried one or two other pedals. And then he's like, let me try that one again. And so he tried the Lawrence Petros pedal again. And he goes, I'll take this one. And sometimes you worry a little bit because you hear stories that sometimes artists want stuff for free. Do you know that? You know, you hear stories about so-and-so came in my
Hey,
store and
Randy.
he wanted a free Strat, or he wanted a, but here he is looking up at his roadie. I handed him one of my nicest Strats. He's got the pedal right there. I'm sorry, I'm kind of shaky. He's got the
No, we
pedal
can see
right
it's
there
good.
in
Neat
his
picture.
lap.
Great picture.
Yeah, he's got his pedal right there in the lap, and he's playing a nice Strat, and he's looking up at his roadie. But yeah,
Right on.
That's excellent.
Jack Hughes from Wang Chung. They were in town playing the Celebrity Theater with Missing Persons, Drama Rama, and Flock of Seagulls was the headliner.
Whoa.
Everybody
How
have
retro are all
fun
those bands,
tonight.
man?
Yeah, it was a
Everybody have fun tonight. Oh, he's muted. Okay.
Or did he?
All
Yeah,
right.
he muted.
So I'm gonna tell you what, Charles. After
Mhm.
trivia, I'm gonna on this Van Halen stuff we're talking about.
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you my take on it
Mhm.
and my stance on it all, just to set the record straight around here.
All right.
Um,
All right.
yes,
Well, the record needs some straightening, so I'm glad
yeah,
you're going to straighten things
but
up.
but yeah, no, but so with that said, where are we at?
Hey, Randy
We're right
Price. Good to
there.
see you, brother.
Yeah, so Wang Chung, they had 3 or 4 hit songs,
Say that again,
and
Dave?
you can make a career out of that.
Yeah.
You know what that means, Dane?
It's trivia time.
Pound
man.
cake.
It's trivia time. Once
Everybody
again.
Wang.
Van Halen trivia tonight. And of course, I always call them all ungettable Van Halen trivia,
Well,
of course. So I'm going to go ahead and say that they're not going to get it. But I do have 2 tonight. Let me see which one. I think that one's too easy. I'm going to ask the second one. I might give away 2 passes tonight. Who knows? All right. Let me show you what we're playing for first.
I did get my pick that I won last time I was on here, so thank you for
Cool.
that. It
So,
got mailed
so
out immediately.
let me ask you, Dane, while I'm
Uh-huh.
looking for the what's your pick dish in the store look like these days?
The old pick dish, huh?
oh, wow.
You know, I love
Um,
guitar picks, dude.
the old pick dish.
Right on, dude. Sweet.
That's a great pick.
So, just some random stuff. This one's got a squirrel on it,
Oh, nice.
or a hamster, or a gerbil, maybe. I have a pick punch, so I punch a bunch of stuff.
That's why we're playing for, kiddos.
Nice.
Oh, I had a fog hat pick. Oh, I got a little. I've got the Lawrence Petros pick.
Nice.
Cool. Very cool.
And again, I have a pick punch, so sometimes I cut credit cards up.
We're gonna recognize our peeps before I ask you guys this trivia question. So there's a email down below, trivia winners email. If you win, email me your name and address. I'll mail you that fair warning pass out tomorrow morning. Let me know when it gets there. But
Oh, that's great, bro.
right on.
Nice pick.
Speaking of picks, our friend Greg at Legend Picks, if you want custom guitar picks, he is your guy, our guy, all these people's guy. Kiss Ted Nugent Sticks. Look, yeah. And you guys looking for a custom build guitar, we know a guy around here. Neil Daly, Daily Custom Designs. His links are in the description. They do work now. Huddle up with Neil.
He's back.
He's
Wonderful.
back.
Wonderful.
Charles just unboxed his Hot for Teacher guitar last week on the show. Yeah, still riding high on that. Go Charles.
Can you tell I'm still giddy or what?
I know.
Man,
I have
it has
all week.
For those of you guys that know, it has a vintage truss rod, and it's back on the bench again. I'm dialing it in even a little better. I'm really, really happy at this point. I'm playing the crap out of it, and I'm going to do a video here very quickly, very soon.
Hot for Teacher guitar, and we might play Hot for Teacher.
You know what?
Just like Wolf played Hot for Teacher.
I've wanted
hint,
that.
Charles, that's a hint.
I can't believe I actually own one now. I was able to talk with Lori Tucker, thank her again. And Lori, just when you hear this, I just want to say it again publicly. Thank you so much. I am so blessed. And you have given me something. You know, the funny thing is, you guys, she makes so light of this like it's no big deal. The detention officer from Hot for Teacher was gracious enough to sign my Hot for Teacher. It's one of the nicest things anyone's ever done for me. Thank you, Lori. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And hopefully she can come on the show here in the very near future, and we can.
Yeah, we were hoping to get her last week, but
she was all prepared to come on. She was going to come on, and she had
bad timing
in her family, and you know, so we understand. And love and everything. Best wishes go out to you, Lori. Absolutely.
All right. And so one more along the way that we don't want to forget here is Brendan B. Squared.
Yeah.
Our buddy, he's in the chat. If you want a cigar box style like those, and that one on the left there, that bass.
I've seen you play that bass.
That's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so custom. They are such custom instruments.
So please read the links in the description. They're just some links. They're there for a reason. I hide stuff down in the description. Answers to trivia. I've hidden trivia answers down there before and said nothing, and no one knew. Nobody.
Not a clue.
Typed it right there in the bottom, right before the hashtags, Charles, where it says brown M&Ms. I did.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So please read the description to every video that you watch. People put those in there for good reason. And please check out our links in these shows. Yeah. All right. So now,
what about Patreons? Come on now, join him. I'm sure you got a Patreon site set up, right?
We do not.
Oh, there you go. He's doing this stuff for free for you guys.
I am. It's totally free. It is for free. If you pay your internet bill last month, then you can watch Fruitcake Tony on YouTube right there, you know. So, yeah.
And you'll probably win something too.
And I might mail you a million Eddie Van Halen money or something. You know, I'm trying to give you guys this money.
So, what are the tunes that you're hoping Wolfie plays in LA then?
I'm hoping he does
Oh,
Light Up the Sky
oh,
right
you
off the
putting me
bat.
on the spot?
Light up
I
the
can answer that
sky.
real quick. No, no,
Mhm.
no. I can answer that real quick. 5150 and oh God, don't kill me.
Dreams?
Pound
No,
cake?
no.
Do they have a great keyboard player on board with him? He's like, no, don't go back there, Dave. I want to see somebody. I think somebody get me a doctor has such a great guitar solo.
Yes, yes, yes.
And Light Up the Sky is such
Or
a
I'm the
fun.
one, if they could pull it off, but got to remember, I'm not taking away from
If
Dave at all.
they could pull it off, if that, yeah, you talking hard, yeah. But he can, of course. But I don't think that's going to be a choice. I do think in the
Unchanged.
end, if they do change, it'll most likely be Roth era stuff that Wolf's used to playing,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what Keith
on bass.
Campbell
So,
points out? He said it'd
yeah,
be nice if they played distance. It would be wonderful
yeah,
if they played distance, Keith. That would be awesome. That would be
Unchained.
absolutely awesome.
yeah.
But
So
Mean
I would
Streets.
think
Could you imagine
Unchained.
Mean Streets?
well, yeah, that would be awesome too. Mean Streets would be awesome. That would be so
Running with the
good.
Devil would probably be good. You know.
Are they going to have the same? Is Hawkins going to be?
Yeah. What was your thoughts on Justin Hawkins, the guy from The Darkness? See, here's the thing. With Wolfie on guitar playing those songs, none of us cared who was singing. Did you
No,
notice that?
no,
You're
no,
like,
I
oh,
know.
listen to the singer. It's a dude from The Darkness. Nobody cared.
no.
Could have been dozens of different guys could have been doing that part,
It's
and
true.
none of us would have cared.
It's true.
It was all about Wolfie
I
playing those
know
songs.
it. I saw somebody commented somewhere. Yeah, they can keep the same guy on vocals. Yeah,
Yeah, he's okay.
because he stood in the shadows nicely. You know.
I mean, would he if David Lee Roth was on stage with Wolfie and Wolfie's playing those songs, could Roth outshine Wolfie playing those songs?
He would
He would try like
try.
hell.
Yeah, he
Roth would
would.
try like hell, but I
I
don't
would
think he
Yeah,
love
could
to
do it.
see him give it a try. I'd love to
Yeah, I
see
don't
him
think he
try.
could do it.
he
Um,
would.
Be
You
like,
know he
oh
would.
great, really got to step up my game here, man.
Dave's still got sparkle, guys. He really does. He's just
He
getting really
does.
old, man.
He's got charisma.
Good God, he does.
All right, let's dive on into this question. Good luck, guys. Thanks for hanging out
Good
tonight.
luck, you guys. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. I so look forward to Wednesday night where I can hang out with you guys and talk about Van Halen. All right, so Van Halen trivia for September the 7th, 2022. Market Pink Towel. Got it. We are going to roll it. Are you ready? Here we go, right at you. What was the name of the video production team that David Lee Roth used for his solo videos, spanning from the Crazy from the Heat videos, Eat 'em and Smile videos, and Skyscraper videos?
This is a
Skyscraper.
very good question.
I think I know this one.
Mm-hmm. I need the name of the production team.
Leon knows this one. Keith knows this one. Ed was close there. I'm
No,
not
he's
sure.
got it.
That's it.
That's close enough.
That
I
is
thought it
close
was
enough.
What's Up Productions. Wasn't it something like What's Up Productions?
Let me go to the. Where's my answer down here? There's your answer, the fabulous Picasso brothers. I got a shirt in there that's got
Yep.
both of them on it.
Yep.
It's David Lee Roth and Pete Angelus. And Pete Angelus was the lighting director for Dave and for Van Halen since 1980.
Mm.
So it was
Yeah, what was
Dave.
that? Andy Carson, what was that? Production.
It was
That's what I thought it was.
David Lee Roth and Pete. It was their idea to lug all those lights out in the early 80s in excess as they did. Yeah.
Nice.
So yes, leave me your name and address, Ed, if you would. That way it's on the top. And yeah. All right.
That is excellent. You rock, Ed.
Okay. So maybe I asked the easy one.
I'm still blown away by how quickly Dane answered Alice Cooper. Damn it, Dane. I did not expect that. And that was brilliant, bro.
I happen to see that somewhere.
Can I show you another one real quick and see how you do? Just out of morbid curiosity?
Show me another photo of
Yeah, would you mind? Would you
a
guys
rock
mind?
star in his youth. Sure.
Yeah.
Go
That'd be
for it,
cool.
Charles.
You okay with that, Tony?
Right
Sure.
on.
Oh, this is cool. This is cool. Thanks for playing, Dane. This is great, man. I think about it all the time, how quickly you answered that. And that was just awesome, bro.
For some reason, I
Okay.
had just recently seen that photo.
Okay, let me see here. Okay. All right. We'll try this one. We'll try this one here.
Waiting on you, brother.
You ready?
Okay. Could you isolate? That is
I know that one.
That's Paul Stanley.
No.
Nope. I get
Okay,
a guess.
That is that's
This
Keith
is who I was going to show you the night instead of Alice Cooper. This
You
is
should
who
have.
That's Keith Richards.
I would have won.
Sorry, Tony. I love giving your merch away, especially to Dane.
Oh, it's
What do you
Steven
want?
Tyler. You're right. I saw it in the chat. Everybody wants some.
Yeah.
Gave it away.
Yep. Very
Right
good,
on.
guys.
He
Wait a
has
minute.
the
Let me
same
do
lip.
the,
He's got that little crooked smile.
Yeah, it's all in
let
the
me do
lips.
that. Let me do the rotate on this.
All right. We got another one here. All right, Charles.
Can you highlight Charles or
Yeah,
so
I'm waiting
main
on him
screen him so I
first.
can see it easier?
There it is.
Oh yeah.
There it is right there.
I've seen that one too. Yeah, I've seen
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. We keep these for tiebreakers when we get the opportunity. We almost did the other night. It happens. And I got a couple I'm saving. Very cool. That's the one I was going to show you, Dane. That was the one I was going to do. And I thought Alice Cooper was a little more appropriate for the show. I don't know why. But anyway, that's great, man. Very cool.
You know what? I'm going to save this next question for next week. I want to show it to you now, though. But I'm not. Yeah. But Ed, that's you, bro.
You rock, Ed. Very cool, bro.
Right on. A fair warning pass. So let me say this about it's nice to dream after watching Wolf play On Fire and Hot for Teacher on
Mhm.
guitar as well as he did under those circumstances. It was wonderful to see. Absolutely wonderful. And I can't wait for the 27th to see what's going to happen and what he plays and all that. But as far as there or beyond, a dream is a dream and it's nice, but you know,
This might be all we ever get.
I know, but at the end of the day, we all know that that's not going to happen. Though Wolf is not gonna, they're not going to reform Van Halen and Wolf play guitar. He'll never, that'll
No, but it would sure be nice
never
to
happen.
finally see
It's
a,
nice to dream about it,
you know,
but
And the
that,
Eagles were
yeah.
never going to get back together,
But
and
with
Guns N'
that
Roses was
said,
never going to get back together.
yeah, but it, with that said, I fully expect, and probably not that far away either. I fully expect a tribute show organized or multiple shows like this that the Foo Fighters have done. That's gonna happen, you know.
It takes somebody with it takes a Dave Grohl type of person to orchestrate that, because Dave is such a great guy. He asks favors out of people, and they are more than happy to say, yes, Dave, I will be there for that. When you can call Paul McCartney and say, hey, we're at Wembley and we want you to fly in and do 2 songs with us, and McCartney's like, sure, I'll be right there,
go. There you go.
you know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
it takes somebody like that. And could Wolfie orchestrate that himself with the help of Roth? Has a hard time orchestrating anything, I think. Roth wouldn't be much help, I don't think.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. The Grohl's that he's they're on
He's
it.
influential. Yeah, he is, man.
They're um after he passed, they didn't waste much time,
Dave Grohl
because
is the
that
biggest
took some
rock
time to
star in the
plan.
world right now. Dave Grohl is the biggest rock star in the world right now.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that when Jimmy Page is still alive, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And people like that are still alive. Keith Richards is still alive, but Dave Grohl is the biggest rock star in the world right now. Seems strange, the drummer from a punk band out of Seattle.
Isn't that true? It
I
sure is
know.
true, Dan.
Yeah, but with that said, it'll be interesting, and we talked about this Saturday some, Charles. If the Foo Fighters, if they continue with Josh Freese on drums, he played most of that show. He played the earlier stuff with Foo Fighters on stage, and toward the end, when they played a lot more Foo Fighter songs, he was their guy on drums. And Dave said that they knew him well and had known him many, many years. And so
Mm-hmm.
who knows?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm sure that those diehard Foo Fighters fans who happen to be listening right now are might be outraged at the just the mere mention of something like that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I want the Foo Fighters, to come back. You know.
Yeah, Keith. Keith Campbell wrote. I agree with you 100%, Keith. He seems like a really good fit. He seems like a great fit. Um, they're, they're not going to replace Taylor's charisma and his personality. There's no way they're ever going to catch that, so they're not going to try. They're going to get somebody who can do the job and doesn't outshine Taylor's legacy. It's kind of what I see going on, and that's totally cool. Let me see. I'm going to read what Keith Campbell says. Everybody needs to remember that Foo Fighters was Dave alone from the beginning. Everybody else was just added on. That is true. That is true. And another thing that's amazing, when you think about the early days of Nirvana and Dave
Like
Grohl
Boston.
sitting in the background, playing drums, great drums for what he was doing, but I never saw this coming. Makes you wonder what would have happened if Kurt hadn't, passed away. Where would Dave have gone? I honestly feel Dave would have done exactly what he's doing right now. He was
Yeah, Dave,
destined
you got it,
to
man.
be everything he is. And it was just a matter of time for things to work out. Yeah, Keith, I agree with everything you said, bro.
I'll tell you this, Charles. If I was Dave Grohl and I organized all that and I knew Wolfgang Van Halen's coming and I knew that they were, of course, I'm playing bass. That's
Yeah,
it. So
yeah,
he got the
yeah.
luxury of saying, no, Nate, have a seat, dude. Have a drink. Yeah, that was so
And,
cool, though.
Oh
I
So
said
yeah,
cool.
it
just
before.
playing
Go ahead,
those
man.
songs on bass is so much fun.
Mhm,
Yeah. Oh,
mhm,
yeah.
mhm, mhm.
Um, and Dave had a ball doing it, though. Um,
And the lead singer of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, right? Does he
Oh,
really just look like he's struggling so much to have to do that
I don't think
job?
he can hear, and I think he's. I don't want to say he's tone deaf, but he can't hit a note on key to save his life
He
nowadays.
just seems he's struggling more than that
Did
guy
you?
in Puddle of Mud in the Howard Stern video.
Wow.
It just
Yeah.
seemed like he was struggling to
Did you
sing like
did you
that.
notice, Dane, where Hawkins actually came up and took the
Yeah,
microphone
what was that
from him?
about? What was that about?
what that was about was there was an article about that was
Uh-huh.
they were supposed to have another mic rigged up, but they didn't. They knew their cues as far as who was singing what first, and so when he discovered after the song started that they were only going to be using one mic and passing it off somehow, and Brian he made sure that he. But that's what that was about
Okay. Okay.
supposedly. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Years back, I mean, his hearing was. You remember the AC/DC album, "Flick of the Switch," "Guns for Hire"? Well, you can look it up on YouTube. You can see the studio recordings of "Guns for Hire," and you can listen to Brian singing. He's not even in the ballpark. Not even in the ballpark. And they worked with him, and I think it was strictly that his hearing was just he's lost it, and now he uses these inner ears that are, quite dynamic. It's state of the art. Um, you can only rock so flipping hard until your ears go, bro. This guy stands on stage
Yeah,
with hearing
that's
protection in front of AC/DC for years. My God, it's amazing. He
yeah,
can.
his vocal delivery is one of the it's very rare to find somebody that can belt it out like that. And once you get up to 70 years old or however old he is, to still be able to do as
Yeah.
good as
Oh
he
yeah.
did is just
No.
amazing.
That's true.
But oh man, that is just a tough job. And some of these guys, I honestly feel sorry for some of these singers from the 80s, and AC/DC was 1980 was Back in Black came out. I feel bad for these singers that belted that shit out back in the 80s, and now it's 40 years later, and they're like, yikes, what I get myself into.
Yeah, I know.
I can remember the For Those About to Rock tour with the Cannons.
Yeah.
He was in his prime for that tour. He could still throw Angus on his shoulders and go out from the stage 50 yards, come across and back. No problem. No problem. Angus did a solo on his back. That was a long time ago, guys.
Well, Angus is only 5'2", 138 pounds or something. You're little guys.
Yeah, guys, those are bygone days. Brian ain't throwing him on his back anymore and running a marathon. But if you got to see it, it was priceless.
But it just looks painful. Yeah. It just kind of looks painful to have to try to, grind it out like that.
Yeah.
He's on up there in age. I mean, heck, all of us are, But you got it. You can't. And all of us try. We try to act half our age,
Well, I'm really immature, so
And you end up with getting new hips and stuff like that because you know.
I honestly, I have to say I have a great life because when I'm going to bed at night, I'm thinking about guitars and I'm thinking about singers from bands that I used to love. And I can go to bed thinking about how Dave Grohl put that concert on. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have stressful things that I'm dealing with right now. I have a really fun life right now, and I get to do stuff like this, and I get to, play gigs with the band that I'm in, and I get to string up cool guitars every day and then play, and people come in here bringing the coolest stuff in. And
aren't you scheduled to play the Whiskey with your band in LA here coming up?
In November. I think it's
good. Dane, life is good.
It really is. I get to go play at the Whiskey A Go-Go opening for Striper.
The Whiskey Dogs opening for Striper. Dane on bass.
That's cool.
And then in December 30th, so the day before, Friday before New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is on a Saturday night this year. So on Friday night, the day before New Year's Eve, we are at the Whiskey A Go-Go in direct support with Stephen Piercy. So our time slot is like 10:30 at night. We're the band right before freaking Stephen Piercy.
That is
at the Whiskey
huge.
On a Friday.
That is huge.
I know it.
I'm so envious, Dane.
I get to go play my bass.
I miss that place.
Super easy because they already have a giant Ampeg with a Mark bass head on it, backlined. So I take my bass with a strap, a pick, and my cable. I plug in, hit the on button.
Playing the Whiskey.
It's just lazy. It's just lazy, Dane.
When you got it, you got it, Charles. You can't argue. When you got it, you got it, dude.
There's this little staircase at the Whiskey that takes you from the stage upstairs, and then there's another staircase that takes you up to the green rooms. There's 3 green rooms upstairs. It's a 3-story sort of building with like a balcony. But the first time I walked up down those stairs, I'm like, holy crap! Do you know the people that have walked up and down these stairs? It blows your mind from everything from the Doors to
Janis Joplin,
the Ramones to Sting, from the Police to Kiss, from the Van Halen guys and Rat and Motley and it's, oh my God, can't believe the people that walked up them stairs.
The Doors, man.
I get the chance to do it.
There's a whole wall in the number 1 dressing room at the top of the stairs. It's covered up. I don't know what they've done with it now, but Mario showed it to me. Jim Morrison wrote poetry while he was wasted on the wall. And he
What do you mean they've covered it up?
He covered it. He had a wall built over it to encase it and encapsulate it to keep it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
There's shit written on those walls, Dane, that would blow your mind. Grace Slick composed music, wrote lyrics to White Rabbit on the walls of the Whiskey A Go-Go, dude. That's straight up out of the mayor's mouth. He told me that himself. That place is iconic. Absolutely iconic. Hey, is that little bar, is the bar next door to the Whiskey still a thing, or is it no longer? When I worked there, there was producers. There was a group of producers. There was about 4 or 5 of them, and they were all owners of that place. It's right next
little
door.
bar, just like
you're
west,
standing at the entry
first
door of the
building
Whiskey,
west.
if you're standing at the box office of the Whiskey, take 20 steps to your left. It's that door.
Called the something room.
There's a bar right there. There is a bar right there.
Yeah. That
and you
place,
see very rich, trendy girls in miniskirts and high heels going in there.
Nothing's changed. Interesting.
Stuff. Yeah.
Nothing changed. That's very cool.
There.
They used to rent it out. Well, they didn't rent it out. They let the girls do it. A couple of waitresses from the Whiskey had a cover band that did Stones tunes, and they used to practice there. And we'd go over there. Hell, we did that every couple of weeks for the better part of a year. We'd go show up after hours, and we'd go next door, and there's a bar that's literally 60 feet long in there. It's 3 stories high. So when you walk in, you come into this opening, and it opens up, and you can look straight up at the ceiling. You should try to get in that place sometime and check it out. It's like taking a step back into the 40s. It's a trip. It is a big time trip. John Belushi, the night before he died, jumped out of a limo there. We were walking out. And he came up and asked for a beer. And I didn't have any authority at the time. This guy, Mike, was my boss. And Mike wasn't even paying attention. He said, "No, man, I'm sorry, we're closed." We could have grabbed him and pulled him in there and had some beers. And
you worked at the Whiskey. What year was that? What years?
June of 1980 till March or April of 1982. I was there for about more than a year and a half.
And so all the Motley guys were right up the street in the apartment. 90 foot up the street, huh?
Yeah.
Or 50 foot up the one street right there.
Yeah.
What's the street what's the intersection?
Clark
Sunset
Street.
and
We're talking about Clark Street.
Yeah. Were you up in the Motley Crue house or apartment?
I've been up there a couple of times.
Right.
I'll tell you some stories backstage sometime.
Was it anything like the Dirt movie?
To be perfectly honest, the Dirt really doesn't do it justice. It really doesn't.
Man, it's dirtier than that, man.
I could tell you.
I have real dirt.
They didn't put some of the stories I'll tell you in the.
That's
in the
real dirt over there.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But no, it.
And so, as far as the hair metal stuff from 1980 to 81, where Van Halen was already long gone.
They were gone. But Dave did come back when they
Molly
came.
Was up. But what about Wasp? Was Wasp around yet?
Yep, Wasp was a thing. They were a thing.
What
Just
about LA
started,
Guns? Was LA Guns a thing yet?
Came in a little later than that. Who was that?
LA Guns. LA Guns wasn't.
Yeah, Tracy Guns. Okay, so there was the early, connection with Guns N' Roses, and they were all really young. So in those days, I was 21. Tracy was, I would say he was 18 at the time. Robin Crosby was 1 year older than me. Tommy was a year younger than me. Talking about Tommy Lee. But Mick was 9 years older than all of us. He was He was the elder. He was
he was already 28 years old or something.
Yeah. Frankie Bonelli. What a nice guy. By the way, rest in peace, Frankie. Rest in peace, Robin.
Carlos Cavazzo.
Oh, Carlos was awesome. His girlfriend slapped me one time. Slapped me. She
Right.
punched me. She flat out punched me. Almost knocked me out.
I was lucky enough a couple of years ago. Rough Riot played at the Whiskey, so it was half the guys from Rough Cut, Paul Sortino, and it was Carlos Cavazzo. So they called it Rough Riot because it was Carlos from
I remember
Quiet
him
Riot.
doing that.
And so do you remember when Dio did the song "We're Stars," the benefit song, Hearing Aid? We're Stars.
For Hearing Aid, you're right.
So I got to go on stage at the Whiskey and be a background singer for the song "We're Stars" because Paul Sortino, he just sang the whole thing, so I got to.
When was that?
I got to be a background singer.
When was that made?
You got to see him sing in the Whiskey. Where was this? Where was
At
this
the
again?
Whiskey.
At the Whiskey.
Rough Riot, January of 2019. So
That's
3 years
awesome.
ago.
That's
Yeah, it was
awesome.
pre-COVID, and yeah, it was really cool. Sean McNabb
Yeah.
was their bass player at the
Yeah,
time.
Sean
Mhm.
McNabb has played
Mhm.
with Dokken
Yeah.
and Night
Yeah, and you know
Ranger and
what's really
everybody.
crazy is Sean McNabb sat in on that last Nerd Halen show that those guys played
Mm,
Did he
over
really?
there with Caleb over in Texas. And I'm like, what's
Wow.
Sean
mm.
McNabb doing here
That
with
is
those
cool.
guys?
That is
Yeah,
very cool.
Sean put on the funny glasses and dressed like a
Oh,
nerd and sat in with Nerd Halen.
never know who you're gonna run into on
That's
the road.
super
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
man. Good for them, man. That's
Never
You know,
awesome.
another
know.
thing that I have to recommend for your audience to watch, Tony, is the Charvel Gang. And it's a documentary about the gang of guys that started Charvel guitars. And it's
Hmm.
on YouTube. So you can
Okay.
YouTube it. It's produced or directed by Paul Gervasi. And I sort of know Paul, and he comes to the
Okay.
Whiskey whenever we play there. But he directed it. He used to work, and it was right around that same time, 1980. You know, right when
Mhm.
Charvel started off, and when
Mhm.
Grover Jackson came in and bought them place out, and they were building the Eddie Van Halen Bumblebees and all that. So it's a
Mhm.
documentary, and it's called the Charvel Gang, because again, it's about the gang of basically very young men that started Charvel and built
Okay.
all those
Yeah.
I'll check
I'll
that
guitars.
out.
check it out.
Talks
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
building the Gene Simmons bass. It talks about building Michael Anthony's Jack Daniels guitar.
Oh,
And
really?
all it's a documentary. So all
Nice.
the Charvel Gang. I highly
Yeah.
recommend it, guys.
We'll definitely be checking that out.
Nice.
Yeah. If somebody, yeah, yeah, we'll definitely check that out for sure.
Yeah, Lenny, please send happy birthday wishes to Mary.
Yes.
That's
Happy
all.
birthday.
Love you, Mary. Happy birthday. Very
I
cool.
was I saw something in the chat earlier about a birthday. I was about to ask whose birthday did I miss?
Yeah, we love those guys.
I hadn't seen that. I'm gonna check it
Yeah, Randy
out.
watched it. It's pretty good. And I know the director, and this is his second movie that he's made.
Hmm.
His first one was called Cherry Future, and he acted in that.
Huh.
Sean McNabb was part of it, and it was about his band and kind of that kind of a thing.
Hmm. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Mary, love you, Mary.
Yes. Happy birthday, Mary.
Yeah.
Let's give a right there. Right on, Mary. And many more to come for you, doll. Yes. Yeah. I was about to kick myself, Charles. Whose birthday did I miss? Good Lord.
I don't want to miss Mary's birthday. That's not okay.
I know, man. I know. So let's I just saw, Charles, that I had this loaded in here. And I got some stuff that I normally just use once and take out because it might be sensitive to the touch.
Oh, that's messed up. That is just messed up. I rock
Oh
that. I
Lord.
rock that jacket though. Shreddy, it's good
Coming
to see you, man.
coming to a guitar pick dish near you.
That actually would be really good on a guitar pick. Neil
Yeah.
had mentioned that.
Um
I think we're going to make that happen. That's really cool. Ed
Who
Drill, thank you, man. That's very cool, brother.
Yeah,
Who's
it is
excited for
awesome.
football season?
It's here.
Who's
Here.
excited for football season?
I'm always excited for
I
football
know.
season. I'm a Carolina Panther fan, whether they're winning or losing, it doesn't matter. Have you seen our stadium? It is badass, guys. It's a great place to
Who's quarterback this year?
see anything. They actually had, geez, I knew it the other day. They finally made a decision. Oh, shoot.
Carolina Panthers. Now
they got the
they had
quarterback
Superman. What was
from-
his name for a while there?
Yeah,
Was it-
Cam.
No,
Cam
no,
Newton.
yeah,
And then they rehired him last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
yeah,
Is he still hanging around?
yeah. I mean, I've been a fan since Jake Delhomme, and
There's a new quarterback
You know.
from another team. I can't place his
I
name.
can't remember his
right
name.
now.
It's kind of bugging me now because
But
they finally
he-
settled. But he
yeah,
is officially the new.
You'll figure it out
starting
Sunday.
All eyes are on him. I'll
I
say
think the
that.
first game is tomorrow night. Somebody somewhere, Pittsburgh or something, is tomorrow night.
Yeah,
It's the first
Yeah.
official game.
yeah.
Packers? Is that it? Packers, Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy
Packers,
for it.
dude. The Packers.
Packers.
I come here to my store. I have a TV in the back, and I sit in the back of the store, and I watch football, and I occasionally sell a guitar or restring something on Sundays during the game. I stay open. I come and
Listen,
open the store. I
Dan,
watch
in a
football
couple of
and I
years,
sell
me and
guitars.
Tony are gonna do a road trip, bro, and we're gonna
Guys,
darken
come
your
and watch
flipping
some
doorway,
football.
man. We're gonna buy a guitar, talk some garbage. It's gonna be awesome, dude.
Here's how it's gonna go down though. You're gonna look outside your shop and there's gonna be some bum with a guitar case open, sitting on the curb playing and singing, and
That's
then
okay.
there's gonna be this other guy beside him putting money in it.
Throwing quarters.
You're gonna go outside and say, "Hey guys, what's up?" And it's gonna be me and Charles.
First, he's gonna call the cops, Tony. Then he'll go outside. What'd you do today?
That would be awesome.
Got arrested at Dan's store. It'll be good YouTube content, though.
He said I could do it. It was your idea, man. Come on, Charles. Talk me into this shit.
Did you guys watch that YouTube video that came out? Now it's another guy and he wears gloves, so you never see his face, but he restrings and shines up guitars and stuff. But it was totally staged. So did you see the one where he went into this old woodshed and the guitar was hiding underneath a bunch of dirt and he dragged it out, and it was obviously a made in Mexico, the Relict series guitar from about 10 years ago. What they call that series of Mexican Fenders that were Relict?
Are you talking about a Strat? Are they
Yeah,
Strats?
the Pawn Shop Strat, or what was their Relic one called? But anyhow, this video was super staged, and you could tell that, the guy walked with a camera on his head and walked into this old woodshed and dug through there and found this guitar laying there, and he came out and cleaned it all up, and the electronics were all clean and everything, and it was so staged. Road-worn Strat. Yeah, it was obviously a Fender road-worn Strat from about 10 years ago.
There you go.
And this guy tried to make it look like he found something from the 50s in a woodshed, and it's like, come on, man.
Oh,
Everybody's calling him out on it.
I hate that. I hate seeing this.
Yeah.
That's so.
Everybody's calling him out on that. I don't know what the channel was called, but he restores guitars and shines them up, and there's no talking. It's one of those no talking videos. And he wears gloves, so I don't know why you would need to wear gloves to work on a guitar.
He's probably got some tattoos on his hands that'll identify him or something.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's part of it, but yeah.
Hey, that's Billy. No, I don't know. It's got fate written on the back of his hand or something, right?
New Year's Eve is on a Saturday night this year, Charles.
Isn't that weird?
I'm thinking out
that is kind of
loud.
weird.
No, it's kind of cool.
So I'm thinking that my show at the Whiskey is going to be super fun because people don't want to go out on New Year's Eve. But the night before New Year's Eve,
I've
let's
done
go to the Whiskey's.
a couple of big shows at that time of the year at the Whiskey, it is the party season, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
those shoes, it's going to be sold out, Dane. You're going to be slam packed, sold out. There'll be a couple of 300 people on the streets.
And you know what? Luckily, I don't have any apprehension, or what am I trying to say? Me as a bass player, and our half-hour set list is so easy for me to get up there and just rock that and just have fun.
That's awesome.
You know, there's no stage fright involved.
Yeah,
or
but
we're not going to have a new song ready for that or anything. You know,
are you going to practice at least? You'll practice.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, we'll practice.
Okay.
But still, though, Dane, the New Year's gig in itself, anywhere, but at a famous venue, plus the fact that the dough is going to be a little más,
we lose money
poquito
every time
más on New Year's Eve than any other Saturday night of the year. You know.
Well, yeah.
So there you go, dude.
It's just that, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's too dangerous to go out on New Year's Eve and drive around. So that's why we're kind of thinking, well, the night before New Year's Eve, it's going to be a Friday. It's going to be, that's the night people are going to want to go out, the night before.
Yeah, I've never seen if it's a good show at the Whiskey, even anything on Sunset Boulevard, it doesn't matter. Whether it was on New Year's or the night before New Year's, that place is going to be absolutely slam packed.
Yeah,
dude. You're going to have a wonderful time, Dane.
Make a video.
What's your thoughts on the Viper Room back in those days? What was going on in 1980?
Viper Room was way cool.
Now,
Viper Room stories.
In the Viper, let me ask you this. Now, I saw a little special. I think Slash was on. Isn't the Viper Room supposed to be haunted?
It is, Gus.
All right.
Actually, no. Wait a minute. Let me take that back. Gus is at the Comedy Store. Comedy Store is way more haunted, and it's documented. I mean, documented. You can look this stuff up, and if half of the stuff that's on YouTube is true, it's all real, dude.
Whose ghost is in the Viper Room?
Oh, there's a couple.
Well, I think back in the 1940s, because they would, in the basement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Charles, you probably know, but I think in the basement, they would just have illegal gambling in the basement with the mafia and government officials, and the sheriff turned a blind eye because it was actually
involved. They were involved.
LA police couldn't do anything because it was West Hollywood. It's a different city, basically, or a different town. Mm-hmm. So there was all kinds of illegal mafia gambling going on in the basement and everything. Yeah. So it was crazy down there.
There's several. There's a Ghost of the Rainbow. There's supposed to be. I've spent the night in the Whiskey on more than one occasion, and there was rumors about that, but I never saw or heard anything. I heard a lot of noises, but that's a very old building. You're going to hear noises, creaks, all kinds of weird stuff. But
that's the bar where Tommy met Pamela. You know,
that's very true. That's a true story.
That's where he beat up the paparazzi out on the side. The front door is over on the side of the building.
Yeah,
but I'm hearing they're tearing that whole building down and putting up condos or something.
Well, that's just another Hollywood icon that's going to be gone. You know, Gazzari's is gone. The Starwood is gone. Madame Wong's is gone. I can go down a list. It is really unfortunate. I got to be in every club in LA at least once. Just about, it seems. I worked for West Security, Dane, for about 4.5 years. So we did Western Event Services Today. We did everything.
What's your thoughts on the Troubadour? What was fun about the Troubadour?
The Troubadour was awesome. I saw Slayer at the Troubadour. I saw Megadeth at the Troubadour. I've seen Metallica play the Troub.
And what would you say the square footage of the Troubadour is?
Troubadour is 1/2 the size, essentially, of the Whiskey. Well, 2/3 the size of the Whiskey.
So the main floor is maybe 2,000 square foot or something. The main floor of the Troubadour, including the stage.
Including the stage, that's probably pretty accurate. That's probably pretty accurate. It's not a huge club. It's not a big club.
Right.
It's actually, I'll tell you, have you ever been to the Roxy? The Roxy is very similar in size to the Troubadour.
Right. Right. No, I've never gone inside the Roxy, but I was able to play on the stage, the Rainbow Room, when they put a stage on a semi-trailer in the back parking lot.
Oh yeah,
I was able
sure,
to do that.
sure.
Yeah.
I was with Mario when they did the very
Hey,
first
Charlie S.
parking lot party, is what they called it in those days. The parking lot party.
Yeah. The Rainbow backstage, backyard party.
Yeah.
The Rainbow.
Interesting. Randy Price, Cliff Burton. Yeah, I used to see Trauma play all the time. I remember Cliff. He was, rest in peace, Cliff Burton. You want to talk about a genuine guy. When I first met him, he was one of the very first times I met him. He was arguing in the backstage at the Whiskey. And he was upset with another band member. He was sharing a dressing room. Trauma used to have to share dressing rooms. And there was a lot of time, there was drama between that. But he was the most genuine, nice guy. And it's funny, you know, when I think back of some of the people who passed away and the kind of people they were and the memory that I have of them, it's positive. Mm-hmm. Cliff, Frankie Bonelli, you want to talk about a nice guy. And he hung out with Kevin Dubrow. I couldn't stand Kevin. I could not stand that guy. But incredible talent. I always say that. I make it a point. But I saw Kevin do some crazy stuff, man. I saw him the night he took Carlos Cavazzo from Snow for Quiet Riot. I watched him do it with a record exec. I watched him do it. He winked at me when he came out of the dressing room before he went downstairs. Gave me a wink. And
he had a plan and it worked.
He followed it through and he did it.
Yeah.
It was one of the most vicious things I'd ever seen, Dane.
Was Kevin Dubrow just one of those guys that, I mean, if you were his friend, if you kind of got through and you became his friend, was he a good guy, or was there's some musicians that they kind of have to hide behind this little alter ego or something about them. And so by belittling the other bands, it makes it kind of props you up and makes you feel like, okay, I'm worthy to do this.
Dane, you hit it right in the head. That's what he did. He did it. I saw him do it to Motley Crue.
Musicians that do that.
Within 30 to 45 minutes of sharing a bill with Motley Crue, he was already talking trash. The boys had been up for a couple of days partying. They were rough around the edges, to say the least. It was one of the worst Motley Crue shows I'd ever seen them do. But they were still Motley Crue, and they kicked butt, even on an averagely, what you might call a rough show. But he took full advantage of it, and he went right for their throat. It was vicious. It was flat vicious, and I didn't appreciate him. But I have to say this. He is one of the most powerful lead singers I saw come out of that club in the 80s, and out of that club and out of the whole era of the 80s. He didn't need a microphone. You could hear him acoustically in the Whiskey when he would sing, when he would scream into the mic. You hear it like it was almost like a wet dry. It was you could hear his voice over the PA, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah,
he was just an incredible singer. But drama followed him everywhere. In fact, Nikki Sixx said that statement, exactly that statement to me one time. Charles, I don't know if you know Kevin or not, but drama follows him everywhere he goes. And tonight's going to be no different. And it wasn't. It wasn't.
But we've heard his whole career that he's not a nice guy. There's people that can go out of their way to try to be a asshole, and sometimes they can succeed. But that dude, straight up, call it like you say it, he's naturally one.
He and Frankie were, in my opinion, complete opposites. I loved being around Frankie. He was funny. He was kind. He was upbeat and positive most of the time. And Kevin was the exact
And
opposite.
same
But
with
those two
same
guys,
with Carlos Cavazzo, right?
they
Super
were-
nice guy.
Carlos is an absolute wonderful, sweet guy. One night, okay, I'll tell you a quick story. So Snow's playing a gig. Carlos is dating Ross, one of their roadies, his sister. And she was drinking and she was wasted and she was being really obnoxious. And this was going
Ruh-roh.
on and on and on. And at one point, Tommy Lee from Motley Crue came down to me and said, Chuck, what's with this chick, dude? This is ridiculous. And I was just like, dude, finally, Carlos
Tommy
and
called
Ross,
you Chuck.
Carlos and Ross come down to me and they say, hey, look,
He won't
she's
let
out
me
of
call him
hand.
Chuck.
She's out of hand. We got to get her out of the backstage. And so I concoct this crazy plan to come up to her and tell her that there's too many people backstage. We got to get her out of there. And she needs to hang out in the bar. It works. I get her into the bar. She starts causing havoc and just arguing with people. This chick was crazy when she was drunk. She was drunk and her personality was completely different.
Mm-hmm.
She comes back up to the backstage door and confronts me and says, look, I want to go backstage. I said, I'm sorry, sweetheart, it's closed. And she balled up that bony fist in and she pulled it back and she punched me right in the face. And I almost went out. She almost knocked me out. And Tommy Lee and Frankie Bonelli were standing on the stairway, sipping on beers, and they were gone, dude. They were gone. They were off the stairway when that happened. Before I could respond, there was a waitress, really great waitress named Cherie. And Cherie, if you hear this,
Sherry.
and she took her service round and clocked the girl upside the head with it and knocked her out of my vision and jumped on her and started beating on her.
Oh,
Wow.
so okay.
I regain my composition. I immediately go to pull Cherie off. I'm not going to use her name. I know I'm not going to use her name because this is kind of embarrassing. And I pull
42
Cherie
years
off.
ago.
Well, Cherie off her, and I go to get her up, and all of a sudden, here comes Ross and Carlos. They think I'm going to go after her and hit this girl. No, I'm just trying to get her up and get her the hell out of the club, right? Mm-hmm. There is nothing worse on the planet Earth than 125 pounds kicking, screaming, drunk female to get her out of a club, guys. I don't care. Give me a 300-pound guy any day over a 125-pound drunk female. And because you can't hit him, you're not going to hit him, you're not going to do it. You just got to kind of get a hold of him and get him out of the
bear
club.
hug
Right?
him. Yeah.
Well, as I'm pulling her out of there, Carlos
Motherfucker,
is
get your
on my
hands
heels,
off of me.
Dane, and he's Chuck. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry, bro. Dude, please don't get us 86. He was worried that because she had done that I was going to say something and they
Kick
were
them
gonna
out of
be
the van. Yeah.
Exactly, because they don't tolerate that stuff with the whiskey. They never have. They never will. And I assured him, I said, Carlos, don't worry, dude. You're fine, bro. I was still seeing stars, dude. I saw stars for 15, 20 minutes. Little stars would say, because she nailed me good, man. It doesn't take a lot. A good punch is a good punch. And
I wonder how she's doing nowadays.
she came back a week or so later. She came back completely sober. And when I say a night and day, complete, from who she becomes when she drinks. It's funny because I can tell you a lot of stories about people who are one way and then they drink and they turn into Jekyll and Hyde. Just about every member of Motley Crue are not the best drunks. That's a great pedal, bro. They're not the best drunks. They get into trouble when they're drinking,
That Quiet Ride album sold, and it was like the first heavy metal song on the top 40.
Yes.
And again, it opened up the floodgates.
So Mental Health, the song Mental Health, he stole it. When he took Carlos, the opening riff to Mental Health was a Snow song that Carlos had wrote. And for years, Snow had been in the club. In fact, it's funny. I was sitting with Vince Neil and Tommy Lee at a table one time in the upstairs bar, and we were talking about Snow and Carlos. And this was 4 or 5 months before the whole thing with Kevin went down. And what Tommy and Vince were saying was, Snow needs to just give up. was their opinion, their mindset, because the only member who was really, really shining was Carlos. And the only member of the band that they said that was ever going to really make it, in their opinion, these guys were just talking straight up. This was just a bunch of guys talking. Was going to be Carlos, because he was a shining star. He stood out like a sore thumb in that band. But Kevin took that riff.
Kevin's band was just called Dubrow.
That's right. That's exactly right. It was Dubrow when he took him.
And how were they? How were they?
Here's the difference. Motley Crue has discernible hits, and basically their whole catalog in the beginning was wonderful song after wonderful song. Dubrow had songs that was a mix of new material, old Quiet Riot material, and then a couple of cover tunes. Mm-hmm. So they both were rocking bands. I'm going to make a Motley Crue Dubrow comparison. You can even call it Quiet Riot comparison. Okay. The songs weren't as good for Dubrow. They weren't as good a song. They weren't as catchy. The fans didn't dig them. So they didn't have a fan base that was loyal like the Crue did. Mm-hmm. To this day, how many Quiet Riot songs do you really know? Off the top of your head that are awesome tunes. Well, I have like 5, and my top couple are not even mainstream hits. But Crue songs, you're talking massive.
The whole first 2 albums, at least. Everything on the first 2 albums.
And then lots of songs, I think Saints of LA is a great song. I love Saints of Los Angeles, and that's old style. That's old school Crue, that's newer Crue, Dubrow was a really tight band, but his entire metamorphosis was the minute he found someone who could fill the shoes of anyone except for Frankie. Him and Frankie were together at the hip. But everyone else was expendable, and he got rid of him the minute he got somebody better. Oh, wow. He was vicious. He really was. But I'm going to say this. For everything that I watched him do, he accomplished everything that he set out to do. And he took that song from Snow. That opening riff was their beginning song. He changed the song, but he took the riff, because it was Carlos's signature riff, and turned it into $1 million song. Set an entire career off another band's riff and wrote a song out of it. I swear the guys in Snow must still be talking to themselves. It was brutal. I'd see them from time to time after that happened. They'd come through the clubs and we'd talk and stuff. And, what are you guys doing? We're starting up a new band. We're going to do this and that and everything. Well, I don't know whatever came out of it, but it was bittersweet. It really was.
But Kevin Dubrow, he was driven. He was
a winner. He was a winner at all costs.
Even if everybody else hated him.
Well, Charles put the nail on the head. I just say what I've read historically about the guy off stage, but Charles has said many, many times that he was not liked amongst his peers, and there was a lot of musicians and bands of that style in the early 80s like that. And
yeah.
Your connection is getting a little funny there, T-Cake.
How about now?
A little better.
Better?
I can hear you now. Yeah, I think so. A little better.
Better. All right.
Dude, I can't believe you're still getting to play the whiskey, man. I'm so envious, bro. I really am.
Money. You know what? It's not so that you can become like back in your day when you were there. If you'd fight and claw to get a slot at the.
He's calling you old now, Charles.
You would fight and claw to get a good time slot there, right? 1980, 81.
Yeah.
If you could get a good Friday night at 10:30, 11 o'clock slot, there's going to be a couple A&R people there, especially after Quiet Riot hit.
That's
You
right.
would literally beat up the other bands so you could get their time slot.
That's right.
And nowadays, it's for guys like us to go relive the good times and spend money. And it's like a vacation. And while you're on vacation in LA, you book the Whiskey A Go Go, and so that you can
Yes.
put that on your resume and
Yeah.
have a good day and reminisce about the good times. And that's what we do.
Priceless. It's priceless,
We
Dane.
lose money every time we go. It's not
That's
about
no
money.
big,
We
but
lose money,
No,
but
but
what a
that's
hobby,
the
bro.
key, though.
What a hobby.
making
What a hobby.
memories. It's making
That's the
memories.
key, though. But right, but back in the early '80s, though, all the bands trying to make it, it was quite different in
It's
these,
competitive. Yeah.
very, very much so.
Mhm.
Very,
Now,
you start on a Monday at 6 o'clock, and you work your way to 11 o'clock on a Monday, and then you work your way to Tuesday at 6, and then you work. And if you, in a short amount of time, a year's time, whatever, if you manage to make the weekend, but you pay to play. You got to sell tickets. You got to bring the crowd. I mean, that pay to play. If
Charles, was it pay to play in
Oh yeah,
1980?
yeah. They
Okay.
invented it.
yeah,
And
They
that's
invented
what
it.
it was.
You know,
now,
it's funny. I
with
used to hear bands talk about it, and I didn't understand what they were talking about. I would overhear all kinds of stuff going on in the hallways and in dressing rooms.
were there
And
fights? Do you remember any bands fighting for better time slots? Were there actual fist fights over?
there were fist fights over everything you can think of. As far as an actual band slot saying we should be on before you or you should be on, I'll tell
Now,
you.
granted, each club has their different days they do shows. Gazzari's did things very differently
I've
than
seen
the Whiskey did.
I've seen a lot of fights at Gazzari's. I've seen fights at the Starwood, and I've seen them at the Troubadour. I've seen them at Godzilla's. I've seen fights in every venue. There were always disagreements
Mm-hmm.
in the clubs between either the patrons or it could be between the entertainment. Okay, so one time, God, so one time, I don't know if I can tell this story or not. I can't tell it. No, I can't.
A lot of his stuff that he tries to tell are actually wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stories that you got, but they all kind of end up with him grabbing the back and just hurling some guy 10 feet out the door.
No, not
Yeah,
always.
or you're
Once in
no,
a
you're
while, but that's
sort
not.
of
I
no.
was
He's throwing people under the bus, so to speak, by
Well,
talking about what these guys did back in the day, and
see,
we don't
sometimes what
want
would
to say
happen
bad
is
things about anybody.
no. Well, Dane,
Yeah.
some people deserve to be talked bad about though because of the way they behaved in those days.
Yeah,
Just saying. However, you're right. You don't want to do that.
yeah.
There were interesting situations where a band would
Just
come on
like you
to do
didn't
the
want to
first.
mention the girl that popped you in the face. You know what her name is, right?
Dude, you know what? She was so sweet, but the
Are you
minute she started
Facebook
drinking,
friends with her? Are you Facebook friends with her now?
no.
So here's my question about that, Charles.
Yeah.
Had your friends not got on her and contained her, what would have happened? Would she have hit you
No.
again?
It's not the first time I've been smacked, slapped, punched, poked. That's the one I really hate the most is the poke in the chest. Oh, good
Ooh.
God. No, that happened all the time, guys. All the time. You can't just hit people. You can't overreact. You don't hurt people. We're not there to hurt. If you're asked to do something, you don't do it, you're removed from the club. If you choose to not want to leave and fight that process, you're going to get hurt because you're not conforming. But we'll say this. Don't hit girls. You don't hit women. You don't try to hit people. You don't ever go out of your way to try to fight anybody. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the night, guys, it's just a flipping job. God, I sound like Patrick freaking Swayze.
Did
It's
do
just
you
a
have
job.
do
You
you
gotta
have
go
a
home.
folder and a bio that's got all of your x-rays and all of your scar locations and
No.
all of your
The
broken
times that I
bones?
should have gone to the hospital, I chose not to. I got hit in the throat with a beer bottle hurled
Mm.
from the other side of Sunset Boulevard. It hit me right in the throat. It was a full bottle of Michelob. It hit my throat and then fell to the ground and exploded. And Charlie and Randy were standing next to me, and I'm holding my throat right here. And Randy says to me, he goes, "Did that just hit you in the throat?" And
Mm.
I looked at him and I said, "Like that." And it was pretty gnarly. I couldn't talk for like 3 days, you know. But that's just wasn't the best job for longevity, you know. The whole time I was there, I was looking to go and do something else in the back of my head. I'll tell you guys this story. So I wasn't going to tell you. I'll tell you a fraction of it because it concerns Tommy Lee, and I don't want to talk shit about Tommy. One night there was another band that opened up for them, and there was backstage a little back talking between the two bands. After Tommy's second set, the crew was done. It was the end of the night. Tommy started drinking, and the other band was still there. And as one was coming down the stairway, Tommy was going up. They had an exchange of words. So as I'm pulling Tommy off of this guy, and one of the other, it wasn't a bouncer, it was just another, like a roadie kind of guy, was pulling the other lead singer from, I can't remember the band. It'll come to me, I'll tell you. Off of him, Tommy reaches in behind my pocket and he pulled out my mag light and proceeded up to knock this guy out with it.
Mm.
Okay, so I can't let him do that, okay, for this many reasons. I can name a bunch of reasons why, but I couldn't let him do that. So I took my mag light away from Tommy Lee, and he took a swing at me. All right. He took a swing at me. I didn't hit him back. I put him in kind of a chokehold and very gently talked him out of it. But
So he
it
hit
was
you?
it was a rough moment.
He hit you?
Oh, he took a full swing. He took a full swing.
No
Full on, as
kidding.
hard as he ever could swing. He missed. He missed.
Oh, he missed.
He missed. He missed.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't let him get a second swing in either, but you know, I didn't beat Tommy Lee up. I'm not going to hit the man. He was drunk. It was just an interesting place in my life at the time, guys. It was, I wasn't really supposed to be where I was, and I was making the best of it. I was just on my way to another place, and I happened to hang out at the whiskey for a couple of years.
Can I ask you one more question about it? Let me ask you one more question.
Yeah.
Okay, so the time you were there, okay, we had all these great up-and-coming bands, Motley Crue and all these guys. What were some of the bands that were still hanging out, but they were like 70s bands, but they were still hanging out? They were
Dawkins was still trying to make it. Don was a big deal on the Strip. His band, Don Dawkins, he played guitar in those days. There was no George Lynch at this time. And he was huge. He was big.
70, what other 70s stuff that ended up, it was never a hair metal band? Was there a popular guy that the guys that were still trying to weed their way through and try to ignore the hair metal guys?
Okay, well, a la carte, as you guys know, ended up becoming Great White. But when a la carte was in the clubs, they had a big following, but they weren't really going anywhere. They kind of were, I don't want to use the word stagnating, but they were just not moving. And moving forward was real important. Guys got antsy. If there were 6 months went by and they weren't, you know, if they weren't improving, they were trying to improve. So it was a struggle. I mean, it was a dog eat dog environment.
And some of those Arista Records bands from the 70s, were there any of those kind of guys?
You're talking about like the
Browns of the world.
You're talking about like the Romantics or Tommy Two Tone or Gary Myrick and the Figures or bands like Sparks. See, there was a lot of other bands other than just rock hair metal, or what we call hair metal, and that wasn't called hair metal.
Right.
But let's call it hard rock. There were more rockabilly. There was this new thing called pop metal. Lita Ford was pop metal when she got her commercial success. That was pop metal. That's what we called it, at least in
Well,
those
well,
days.
too though, a lot of it, had it not all been centralized there in Hollywood in those clubs at that time, all those artists that made it ended up getting lumped. I
Mhm,
mean,
mhm,
a lot
because
happened.
there was the, again, I keep saying, like, the Jackson Browns and the
mhm.
Eagles and that style of music. Was there
Like,
the Eagles style, the music that the Eagles and Jackson Brown did? Was there that style of music still trying to get in there
not
on Saturday?
really. No, you're talking about folk rock is kind of what
Yeah,
you're talking about there. Bands like Fleetwood Mac were folk rock in the very beginning, a lot like the
yeah,
Eagles. Um,
yeah.
bands, and I talked about Heart before. Heart, I got to watch them. They did private shows, a couple of private shows in the time that I was there. This
Mhm.
was their morphing from the original Heart, the band, into the MTV era. The Heart, like, they redefined themselves,
Mhm.
and that was all more the girls than it was the band Heart. Um, that, in fact, Heart was one of the bands that came out of the '70s, and I watched them morph at the whiskey. They literally changed right before our eyes from
Mhm.
1980, 81, 82, and 83 before
Mhm.
MTV. Um, Punk bands, Circle Jerks,
Mhm.
Black Flag was not a thing in the early '80s, but their legacy at the whiskey, the riot. Um, I was working with bouncers who were there for the Black Flag riot.
Oh, so bands like Black Flag, Circle Jerks, the Germs, maybe those guys were still at the
Absolutely,
whiskey, or were
absolutely.
they across the street only at the Viper Room?
No, no,
Did
they
they
would
kind of
play.
segregate?
They would play in the '70s. The problem was is that everything was getting violent, and the violence was just, they were killing themselves. The early punk shows that I worked
Mhm.
were not even okay. There was a club that they had to. This is what they did, Dane. They took the punk bands and moved them out of LA. They did their best to get them out of LA. And what happened was a bunch of other
Mhm.
areas, as far as Encino, Pasadena, Ventura County. I'm talking, all spread out.
Mhm.
They'd open new clubs. There was a place called Alpine Village I think it was in Pasadena.
Mhm.
Alpine was in Pasadena. Anyway, it was like a Christmas village kind of a theme.
Which is
They
like
started.
40 miles, 45 miles, 50 miles east of LA, downtown LA.
Yes, yes, yes.
They'd move them
And
30, 40 miles away.
yeah, they started doing punk shows, and I mean huge punk shows.
Uh-huh.
Um, but they were moving punk out of LA because of the violence. I've stood. Okay, okay, okay. Agent Orange and the Damned played the whiskey. They
Mhm.
brought in, I believe it was 15 guys from West. There were 5 club security, so there was around 20 bouncers approximately in the club for the show.
Mhm.
We needed 50 or 60. Easy.
Wow.
It was the most violent. So anyway, um, they literally, I was standing on the stage for that show, right on the stage. Stage jumpers, they came out. Red Keller came out, the manager. I didn't get along with him at all, but he came out before the show and he said, "Look, I'm going to tell you right now, don't jump on this stage. If you get on the stage, these boys are going to grab you and they're going to throw you out the door. Stay off the stage." He's like laying down all these rules.
Mhm.
This group of guys, all they wanted to do was
They're like,
break every rule,
whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
break every
yeah.
single rule he was making.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this guy climbed it, and if you remember the old school whiskey stage, there were 2 huge stacks that if you were standing at the floor and you looked at the top, it was approximately 12 feet to the top of the 2 PAs that were on either side of the stage. And this one dude ran across the stage, leaped up onto the top of the stack, and was standing there. And he was like, had his arms up like he was the king of the world. And as I came up to the back, I was getting ready to climb up on there and grab his ass. And he jumped off and did a backflip, and he hit the floor. The crowd split and he hit the floor. I watched it with everybody else.
Yeah. So the punk stuff was
That
just
kind of stuff was
over the
going
top
on. They were
crazy.
bouncing off the walls, Dane. They were literally just
Mhm.
bouncing off the walls. The clubs had their fill of it. They were tired of it. People were going to the hospital constantly.
Yeah.
There was a show at the Troubadour. A friend of mine's band, Johnny Cochran, his band Vermin was playing with Slayer, and they
Yeah.
opened for Slayer that night. There was some violence between fans, and the fans were clashing. The punk fans, the new thrash metal fans. They weren't calling it thrash metal; it was just called heavy metal.
Heavy, yeah.
Okay, okay. I'll put it this way: James Hetfield walked up to me at the Whiskey one time and introduced himself to me, and said he had just given a demo tape to Michelle upstairs, and he said, "Dude," and he out of his mouth he said, "We kick ass. We play heavy metal." That's what he said. So according to James Hetfield, it's called heavy metal, guys. That's all I'm saying. But
he cued the phrase.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, he created the phrase.
But there was a lot of violence out of both of those genres. It was
because honestly, I was in a punk band 10 years ago. We were called the Fed Ups, but I got to open for Agent Orange at a little bar in West Phoenix.
Very cool.
And we played to like 50 people, maybe 100 people at the most.
Oh, yeah.
And it was very mellow. And there was no violence going on
That's
anywhere.
because they're
They
all
were a
old.
fun California surf punk, and yeah, it was a fun show. And
that's so cool.
it wasn't. There was none of that violence was involved. So maybe just people here in Phoenix in the 2000s, they weren't violent. They just wanted to go. They just wanted to go see and listen. They weren't trying
no one's
to
going to tolerate that anymore, Dane.
Yeah, they weren't trying to get out years of angst.
No, it was a different time, dude. But hey, let's start winding things up, you guys. We can do this all night, right?
I know. So we are 222. We are room 222.
Man, I love talking with you guys. I love talking to you, Dane. That is so cool. I wish you absolute.
You, Chuck.
Chuck's fine, bro. Chuck's fine, bro.
Let me tell all the kids a thing or two here, Charles, before we wind things down. All right, so next week here on the show, we have Louis Costa Fairfield Guitar Company.
I can't wait.
Be right here with us next week, right?
That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's next week. And the week after, as we showed you earlier, our friend Adam Roach will be back.
I'm really looking forward to Adam coming on, you guys. He's such a genuine, awesome dude. He's so kind. What is it about these guys from Australia? I don't understand. I haven't figured this out yet. Between him and Simon Hosford.
The water down there.
It must be, dude.
Yeah. Dane, thanks for hanging out with us tonight, bro.
Dane.
I thank you for having me. It was tons of fun.
Anytime, man. We talk Van Halen every Wednesday. And thank you guys for watching.
We love you guys.
I love Wednesdays. Subscribe here if you're not already. We do Van Halen every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. And let me show him something else, Charles.
There's a lot of Van Halen news right now.
A lot.
Jeez. And I'm so excited about it.
When the weekend comes, we do a live show on Saturdays called Show Me Your Pick, and you'll see a lot of guitar picks and memorabilia and stuff. But this week, we're going to be talking about the Stray Cats.
Very cool, man. Brian Setzer, dude. There's a lot to talk about Brian Setzer.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness.
Episode 114. That is this Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern. And next week, we have Lewis and Adam the week after on Wednesdays. Yeah. All right. We're going to cruise outward. Thanks so much for making us a part of your Wednesday evening talking about Van Halen. Please leave a thumbs up on the video and subscribe if you're not already, please. And let's see, there we are. And Charles Green, Dane, thanks so much. Always fun.
Thank you.
Any last words there, Charles Green?
Hey guys, just don't forget, doesn't matter around here if you go north, south, east, or west. This is Halenville, and all roads lead straight to Van Halen, you guys. Have a great week. Be well and do something nice for somebody for no reason whatsoever. Happy birthday, Mary. You rock. Love you. Be well, you guys, and rock on.